I can be going through, things are just crazy. I've talked before on podcasts and things about how, like, this kind of goes back to the discussion about nonfiction and fiction books, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, if I'm driving, I'm listening to an audiobook or I'm listening to a podcast. But then there are times where I'm just like, I need to put those away and I need to turn on some music
No, it's
and just
true.
like let it take me kind of away. Get out of my head and maybe a little bit more into just experiencing everything, like if I'm just stuck in my head, it's what can kind of pull me out and let me just experience
100%.
everything.
So let me ask
So,
you, and I'm not meaning to cut you off, but I gotta
no,
ask you
totally.
this. Do
Yeah.
you have to, when I just produced, it was all
Mhm.
about that production 100% of the time. When I started to get into the business element and trying to grow this channel as a channel, because I had multiple channels that I was able to grow, but big whoop. It was in like 2013, 2008, 2006. You literally upload anything, your wall, and it would get views. Like it just, the saturation wasn't here. So on my way to work, because I have a long commute, have to stop myself and be like, it's okay to enjoy music.
Yeah.
Like it becomes a guilty pleasure, like almost like a drug. Like you shouldn't be doing this. You should be listening to how to wake up earlier, how to do more, how to maximize your brain. The more that I read about Ricky, and what hit me was you seemed a lot like me, but a much nicer version. Music is kind of my passion. So what do you think is the thing that's the easiest to pull you away? What kind of music? Like what's your favorite music?
Honestly, like it's crazy. It's like most of the time, I would say most of this is gonna make me look like a total dork, but that's okay. The music that like pulls me away the easiest is usually songs from musicals. And I think that's partly because that's kind of like what they're made for. They're supposed to like make you feel, right?
What's your favorite
Um,
musical?
oh, I don't know. The one I probably like singing along to the most right now is probably The Greatest Showman for some reason. Hugh Jackman's range is similar to mine, and he's like in the movie, he's got kids, and I think this is why. This is why, because he's playing P.T. Barnum, right? And
Yeah.
he's getting all caught up in his business and forgetting about like his family. And I'm just like, I don't want that to be me. Like I'm getting so busy with business and like, but why did I even do this in the first place? And so like I'm feel like I can relate. Like I am like a super empath. I like feel too much of what other people feel. I'm learning that that's often not a good thing. It first of all, it makes me too
It's a
trusting. Like,
terrible thing with business.
oh yeah, it's horrible. And then the other thing too though is like sometimes when people are like grieving something and then you start like being sad with them, they're just like, "Wait a minute, why are you sad? The bad thing didn't happen to you, it happened to me." And it's like, "I know, but I can feel what it would feel like if
They're
I were
like, why are
you."
you
No, it's
upstaging
yeah,
me?
I just want you to be like here to support me and tell me that it's okay. I'm like, "Okay, I'll try to do that." But like anyway, so
No,
like I'm like
for sure.
seeing myself in that musical. I think that's
That's a
why,
real
but
thing. I mean, it's almost, this wasn't a musical, but it's almost like Citizen Kane. Like the more
mhm,
successful he got, the bigger the dining room table got between him and his wife. But like really anything, I mean, I think money can definitely amplify a personality. I don't think that
yeah.
I'm not somebody that's like an Andrew Tate follower, but I definitely, and I'm sure he didn't come up with this either, but he was the first person that I heard say it. He was talking about money, but I would translate it to success as well. It doesn't change the person, but it amplifies almost the flaws in that personality to where, like, if I was stuck up a little bit before, now that I'm a millionaire and I have these 12 businesses or one without the other, now I'm a real stuck up person. And I do think that money is an amplifier of whatever toxic or good trait. But I do think like that negativity outweighs positivity always. With some people, business can just distract to the point where, especially when you're not making money or you're not seeing any value from the business, but you just have like this faith, it can create like this distraction to the point where it looks like delusion,
Yeah.
even if it's not delusion. But no, I definitely can see a lot of parallels and I love the inspiration. So, can you play any instruments?
Yeah, so I play the piano quite a bit. That's probably the one that I'm the most like close to I wouldn't say I'm like pro because I know people that like professionally play the piano and they still amaze me. But like, I mean, I like other instruments too. I mean, I played in band in school. I played the tuba and I can play most brass instruments and stuff. And
And you said that you've done some
and the
guitar.
guitar a little bit. Yeah.
What level
I
would
would
you
love
say
to
you are
get,
on that?
I can do a lot of chords. So like, I can't do like any real soloing. You know, when I listen to like 80s rock, and you asked me what kind of music I like the most. Like sometimes it's musicals and other times it's Nirvana and other times it's country. Like when I say I'm all over the place, I really am. But like yeah, I listen to like 80s rock and you hear some of these riffs and I'm just like, man, like I am nowhere near that. But I can play most of the 3-chord songs that make up most popular music today. So like I can get by and play well enough,
No, for
but
sure.
nothing where anybody like would watch me perform. We'll put
I'm
it
sure
that way.
you're a lot better than a majority of us. So keyboard has always been something I've picked up quickly, but I've never mastered it. Never even been close. My when I was a little kid, I learned the Terminator 2 anthem. Do no 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 no, and then I started to play by ear when I was like a little kid, but I never kept up with it. Once like, Logic, FL Fruity Loops, all
Mhm.
those things like came, I could merge my computer love with my music love to where it
Nice.
kind of, I was able to cheat because I do think that DAWs were definitely a cheat because we can be every instrument now, whereas before we could only be one. Ricky, we know a little bit more about you. The more research that I did after I filmed my video, the more that I saw that Ricky was a really likable guy. So I think that the attachment to Nate, which I also had, you almost got to let that go. The positive is that Nate has his own channel and we're all welcome to go subscribe to Nate. But I stayed a part of Channel Makers for more than one reason. To be honest, I was the very common viewer. So one thing that I can say about Channel Makers is that it's maintained a level of authenticity for me. Granted, like I switched to Channel Makers, granted, while Nate was present, as much as they're getting the brunt of like this drama and they're getting all the videos made about them, it's actually the least of, I think, what's going on in this whole space. They have the spotlight on them. Meanwhile, like there's two like murders going on like over here, but you became more of like a collaborative on-screen presence. How do you think that you maintain that authenticity? And what do you think that these other, or what do you think any channel could learn from having multi-hosts?
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that almost nothing other than the fact that Nate was no longer on camera, almost nothing changed. So, I mean, the authentic feel from before came from, first of all, it's a small team. I mean, I have Cody, our full-time editor, and then we have a part-time editor, Andrea, who works from home most of the time.
She was on my thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
she made a
Yeah.
feature
That's
on
awesome.
my
Yeah.
provocative thumbnail.
But I mean, other than that, we have Julia and Nathan that are like the main faces on Channel Makers now. They were both here. I mean, Nathan,
But
it
Julia's the
has
one that started with Nathan because
no,
someone,
actually, it was Anna that started with Nathan.
Anna, okay,
Um,
are all
or with
three women blonde?
kind of different dark, like none of them is like dark haired. So that's
So they're all kind
I
of
hadn't really noticed.
okay. No, I got confused. Me and
Yeah.
one of my subscribers, because he was talking about the person that came on with Nate, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Was she blonde?" And he's like, "I think they're all blonde." And I was like, "Well, that doesn't really help."
Yeah.
I didn't know
I
who to
mean,
put
it's
on the thumbnail.
yeah. No, yeah, and Anna, she started like she and Nate started at the exact same time. And they started Channel Makers together. We had them hosting together for a while. But she now also is part-time. She's decided to go part-time. The people that are here are, I probably think of them too much, almost like family. And so it's like as their needs change and stuff, it's like, oh, for family reasons or whatever, you want to go to part-time. Okay, cool. Well, let's just adjust your responsibilities. Julia joined the team a little like right when Cody did. Been a little over 2 years. Like I hired her to help Nate mostly with video planning and preparation, and then to be on camera. That was part of why we hired her, was that she had done YouTube already. She had her own channel, knew what she was doing, and was eager to learn more. So we hired her and because she's got a lot of project management background. So we thought she'd be a really good person to help us be more organized, help Nate get more organized. And so like there she was, like helping plan all of these videos with him, and was supposed to be on camera with him and all that. But like, and then we recently hired, well, I guess it's been a year now, I hired Jake, who's my brother. And
Is he blonde?
he's not. No, his hair's
Just
darker than mine. And then we have Tanner, who does like a lot of our affiliate marketing stuff. I mean, that's not a huge team. I don't have like a ton of people around. And I mean, we've got Carissa, who's literally she does support, and she works from home a couple hours a day. Project 24 members like know and love her because she like takes care of them. But like, it's a small team. We've always been really close and worked together. And so like when Nate left, the style of the videos, the planning of the videos, like it didn't change. All that changed was like who presented it and their personality.
So Anna and Nate were the original hosts. I think I vaguely remember Anna, but who was in the latest video? The latest video was about YouTube Shorts. They were picking comments out of a toaster, which I thought was super creative. And that's
Julia. So she was
not one of the original hosts, but Anna was. Right. This is my last question about this, because I still have I have a lightning round to go through with you still in like 6 minutes. Why did it become just Nate and not Anna?
Yeah. So this was part of it, like where I at that time was only half. I only owned half the company. And my business partner, Jim, great guy. We're still friends. He's an idea kind of visionary person, and he has a thought and is like, well, let's try it. Let's run with it. So he had this. At the time we hired them, we didn't even hire them originally to like be on YouTube that much. But then it was like, well, we need to start a second channel teaching YouTube, because whenever we try to talk about YouTube on our Income School channel, those videos flop because it's not what the audience wants to hear. It's too different from our main content. So we're like, well, we need to start a second channel. Let's have them do it. And at the same time, we were like exploring our whole system for how to create successful channels, because we wanted to teach that too. So we had already started our outdoors channel at the time, which was about shooting sports, Backfire, and like we were kind of doing that on the side, the two of us. And then we're like, well, let's start some others. And so like we had Nathan do one teaching WordPress tutorials. We had Nate and Anna doing this one. Yeah. And so then like after a little while, we're like, okay, well, we have Nathan on his own doing this one, but we have Nate and Anna doing this one together. Let's have Anna do another one. So we started another one that was geared toward content marketing stuff, but more geared toward women. And after a few months, it was like, hey, you know what? Channel Makers is already doing pretty well. It's the one we'd given the most attention on, and Nate was doing a good job on it. It's like, well, we're figuring out our approach to YouTube. We've kind of done a lot of testing. Now we need to get back to focusing on our normal day-to-day operations. So let's just keep the one that's working well, Channel Makers, and let's just run with that. And the other ones will close down and get kind of back to normal. So that's what happened. That was like the evolution of why Anna left Channel Makers, was to start a separate one. And then it was like, well, let's evaluate like what everybody likes best, what work they like best, and what our needs are. And we put her in charge of our Project 24 membership, where she really likes interacting with our members and does lots of live calls with them and stuff. So that's like where she went, and Channel Makers stuck with Nate because that's who was doing it and it was working well. So
no, that's awesome. I mean, that's perfect, because I think a big gap that I left, and it could have been me not reading well enough, but like a big gap was like, how did it become just Nate?
Yeah.
Because he became
and I wouldn't do that again.
No.
For channel owners, if you ever hire people to be on a channel for you, like don't ever have it be one face.
It was really easy for me to play Monday morning quarterback. That's what I do best. I do that in every niche, every genre.
Yeah, that's good.
That's kind of almost what my channel became. But I do want to know, Ricky, what is the difference between Project 24 and Income School?
Yeah, Project 24 is just the name of our like paid membership program. And honestly, like it probably needs a rebrand, because it was based on an idea originally. It was mostly for people who were doing blogging, and it was on a concept where
like Tumblr.
Yeah, well, and we were teaching people how they could make their own website and build a site, blog on the website, and how they could get to about a full-time income within about 24 months.
So like SEO.
Yeah.
And like marketing, promo, things like that.
Yeah, and it was mostly through just like say SEO. It was through writing content that would organically gather traffic.
Right.
And that was like the start of it. So it got this name, Project 24. It's like a 24-month project, and you're at a full-time income. And it's evolved so much over time. and Google's changed so much, and it's like it should probably just be Income School. Like that's the name of the membership. But
Yeah, but you're freaking, you can't rebrand it now because it's
I know.
2024.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have to wait till next year.
You got to wait until next year. So Income School, what is that?
So Income School was just, it's the original name of the company we started and the website and the YouTube channel we originally started, which in the beginning taught mostly blogging and WordPress stuff.
Oh, still the same. Okay,
So it's the same now.
so
Yeah.
Project 24 was the umbrella over Channel Makers, over Income School, over.
It's the membership that ties it all together. So like Project 24 is like people join it. It's like it's a membership that has a lot of course content, a community, and all that.
But
So it's kind of like
obviously-
the name of the product.
But it
And Income
sounds
School
like
is the
this
company.
product. Okay, so Income School is, okay, so Income School LLC or Income School
Yeah.
Incorporated. So these things incorporate pretty much all social media. So not just, obviously it's had to modernize with everything else. So it does incorporate YouTube. So if I were to sign up for your program and rip it apart on my channel publicly, but if I were to like sign up for the program, I would be signing up for, because I went to the website and for me, you know, I might be stupid, but it came across like this to me, like it was confusing as to what I was signing up for, just because I'm not interested in writing a blog. I'm more interested in having my channel, my beat store, in my case, as a music producer, my beat store, mainly as instrumentals for podcast videos. Like that's my particular niche. So one thing that I noticed was vidIQ and TubeBuddy do not want to mess with music channels at all. They don't know how to manage them. They don't know how to grow them. So one thing is, first of all, have you ever managed one? And second of all, what would be your advice for my audience on how to grow something like that? Because in my opinion, I grew 3 channels before this way easier in half the time. And granted, you could say it was a time span, but I personally think that music is the heart. It sells everything but itself. It's hard to sell.
I think that's true. So I haven't personally managed a music channel. I'm sure we have members who are in the music space. I followed several music channels. I would say the thing that seems to work the best with music channel, and this is where it's really tricky, it kind of depends on what it is that you want to do. I know we have members who have been successful teaching other people music at different levels. Or teaching them about music, lots of tutorials. My wife just bought, like, she plays the trombone in an orchestra, and so there was a guy with a YouTube channel.
Is he bald?
He went, I don't know. I don't even know if she showed me the video briefly, but this guy like played like he like, the video was just like him doing like, this is my daily trombone exercises that help extend my range and help me with my sound. And he played it, and she's like, I want that so bad. I want to play. I want to work on those things. And so as she just looked in the video description, there was a link and you could go buy it from him. And she's like, I'll pay $10 for that. And she did. So I see those work. Yeah.
I would buy that too.
So tutorials can work. Other channels that are more kind of on the entertainment side, those do well, but usually if there's like video to go along with it, it's more like a music video, but at a YouTuber level. I've seen those do really well. And often they get tons of views because you don't, like, if you watch one of my informational videos, you watch it one time and you're good. Music, you'll play that video multiple times over the course of a year or whatever.
Especially if it's a beat, because you're rapping to it. But I know, like with type beat channels, the way that I used to do my channel, I had very engaging visuals, but the videos did not get viewed because it's extremely hard to title type beats. So what I started to do, so I broke away my music from my main channel and I started to name my music instrumentals based on the instruments that were in them, very specific. And rather than saying type beat, I just say for podcast or a visual background. But what I'm noticing is my titles are looking like an Amazon description of a product from China. It's very, very long. It's very SEO oriented, not very human oriented, but it's very, very hard because if I just call this beat sadness, which would reach out to a human, that's not going to work for our niche, which I think is why so many YouTube growth companies lean away from our niche, because it's so not only saturated, but difficult because
Yeah.
I can be a whole lot better or a whole lot worse than Joe Schmo down the street. It doesn't really matter. We're both like pinned up together if we're starting at the same time. You almost need to hit the lottery when it comes to, in my opinion, because the algorithm can't distinguish one song from the other. Yes, it can kind of determine mood. It's up to you to
Yeah.
kind of SEO this thing, which is where type beats
Yeah.
came from. Why Drake type beat? None of them sound like Drake. It was a way to get played, and it's become a convoluted, messed up niche, which is why no one will touch it. But
Right.
you're in like such a good situation right now to where, you do have a very reliable, very awesome team. You're a music guy. I'm pretty sure you're not the only one on your team. I would love for specifically you, because channel makers, and this is no bullshit. If I don't care enough about a creator or a company, I'm not going to make a video on it. The reason that I did this was, I love channel makers. I loved Nate, and I still continue to watch channel makers now. And I would love to see you guys cater to us because like we don't have any help in
Yeah.
this space.
Yeah, I think that would be like a really cool challenge to try to take on. Like, how do we crack this? Because it seems like if I'm looking for beats or background music, a lot of creators are just like, I'll just go to like Soundstripe or whatever and download something.
Or
And
epidemic sounds when there's
yep,
free for profit beats all over the place that are just waiting for views that
yeah,
nobody looks at. So I think
yeah,
like no, if you could tap into our niche, and of course I'd be of any help. Obviously for like $10,000. That's a joke. That was a joke. If you saw the video, you get it. But no, like in any way that I could but just having some help that could cater to our niche, we are a huge portion of YouTube. I am so grateful that Ricky was willing to come onto the channel and talk with me. It was a work day. I was a little bit loopy. I don't think I've ever recorded a video on a work day, but I definitely talked his ear off. Very patient guy. The most productive parts of the conversation were left in, but I think I had him for about an hour and a half. Through editing the video, I realized that Channel Makers has a lot of potential when it comes to our particular niche, because no other YouTube growth channel really focuses on the music stuff, specifically the type beat stuff. So I thought that that was really promising. And again, thank you so much, Ricky, for coming on. I'm sorry, I noticed while I was editing that I asked you the same questions over and over and over like a crazy person, but I really appreciate your time. Also, I realized that the interview ended very abruptly. We didn't really have a good sign-off, so I figured that the sign-off could just be the most pertinent thing that I think us as music producers think about when it comes to YouTube, how to grow. But anyway, again, Ricky, I can't thank you enough for your time and your patience and the insight that I think that you gave both me and my viewers on what it is that your company does, what happened when it came to Nate, and just general good stuff all around. If you guys enjoyed that video, a like would mean the world. You can go so far as to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.